Good morning, family and friends. This is Leontini, 365 Black History Month. I am wishing you a happy Sunday. I know that probably many of you are in church or doing your worship service. On Sunday, a lot of people do go to church. I am a little more casual, as you can tell by my ponytails. I'm going to be going to my yoga class. And that's a really good thing to do to nurture your mind, body, and soul. So my daughters and I are going to yoga a little bit later. So today I'm not going to be putting up any information on books for you to read. Just going to have a casual conversation and maybe bring up some topics for food for thought. And again, some of these topics are kind of harsh, but I want to bring them up in order for you to think about them, to talk about them. A lot of people have what I call casual conversations or coffee table conversations about the issues that are confronting us today in terms of race relations, cultural relations, and making them better. And I always try to put some humor in it. So today, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I'm not sure if you can see that, is the controversy that we have with Gucci and the African American or Black consumer. Many people know that African Americans are trendsetters. We tend to buy a lot of designer products, whether they're Gucci or Louis Vuitton or Kate Spade or any number of designers. We tend to buy those, even though they're very expensive. Some people don't, some people do. But the most important thing to know is that if we're spending our dollars there, then the manufacturers and the creators and the designers and those labels need to give us the respect that we're due and not to make any kind of inflammatory products to insult our culture. So Gucci and whoever else is listening, if you want to keep Black consumers, you better do the right thing. And so I'm hoping that one of my favorite designers, and I have a lot of clothes from Ralph Lauren Polo, that they always stay on the right side, because if not, I'm going to have to purge a lot of things out of my closet. So we just have to remember to do the right thing, that when you are a consumer, you expect respect from that company. So do the right thing. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about cultural and race lies. And I think today, Sunday, is a perfect day to do that. When you tell lies, and God knows we know someone who is at 1600 who's a master of that, that creates a lot of destruction and mistrust in our society. So the best thing to do, no matter how bad it might seem, stop lying. Stop lying about race and culture and that one group is better than the other. That's just straight up a lie, and it's very destructive. We used to have, and still do to a degree, and that's why we're continuing to have these discussions, what we call the one-drop rule. When I ask most Black people about the one-drop rule, most of them know. But when I ask some of my white friends and family, they may not know about the one-drop rule. And that one-drop rule was that if you had any Black ancestry at all, just one drop, must be very powerful, but just one drop, then your identity was moved into the colored people, not even biracial back then, chart. You were considered Black. But it didn't work the reverse. So if you had one drop of white, you weren't considered white. So that does a really disservice to people and their cultural identity, because it means that they have to choose one over the other. And we know that one is not better than the other. You're really both. But in this society, we've made people make a selection, and we've made it political, and we made it very demeaning. So we need to move from that. And we talk about who can be black. So I can be black because I have black parents, but what if I had one black parent, one white parent? Can I still be black? If I have an Indian parent, Filipino parent, can I still be black? So do we get to choose, or does society choose for us? Those are just questions that I'm asking you to ask yourself. And who gets to be white? Because white is different than being Caucasian, and that's white privilege. So who gets to be white? And who gets the privilege? What if it was the reverse and we had black privilege? So that only people who had a certain color got the privilege, and those people who didn't have, enough melanin, they would be relegated to the back of society. Any way we look at it, it's wrong. And then the other discussion that happens within the community and at the dinner table, those coffee table conversations, is can our black leaders, and when I'm talking about black leaders, I'm talking about black leaders on the state and national levels, and sometimes in our community levels, can our black leaders sleep white? Can they? Honestly? So if we would look at the heritage of Dr. Martin Luther King, who we considered a black leader, or Malcolm X, black leader, would it make a difference in moving the agenda in civil rights, economic discourse, making things right, if their partners or if their wives had not been black women, if they had been white women? So that leads us to our previous president, President Barack Obama. What was his heritage? And would it have made a difference if his wife had been white? And I will tell you, in the black community, and I think the white community as well, it would have made a difference. He would not have been elected if he had a white wife. Because we are still, all of us, are still grappling with issues of identity, black and white. Hopefully we'll move towards, and the way that we solve these issues, to have conversation and real change of heart, change of laws, change of religion. But I would think, based upon what I know and from conversations that I've had, that Michelle was definitely an asset and a plus to him. Because we, as African Americans and as black people and as black women, said, well, he is biracial, but he has a black woman. I'm not sure if he would have received the black woman's vote if he had been married to a white woman. Now, that takes us to someone who's running now, and there's conversations about Senator Kamala Harris and her identity. Now, from what I've read and understand, Senator Harris is identified in the press. They identify her as an African American. But in fact, her mother was from India, father was from Jamaica, and she spent time growing up in Canada. So for people who say that they are descendants of enslaved Africans, they don't count her in the ranks of being a person that would have the same heritage as someone like me. I'm a descendant of Europeans, and I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. And although her identity is tied to her Jamaican ancestry, which would be, if we're talking about skin color, would be black, that's another identity. That's not being an African American. She would be Jamaican and Indian. Does it make a difference? Does it make a difference that her husband is not a black man? I heard one lady say, I don't understand, because she attended Howard University. And there are plenty of brothers at Howard University during that time. But, we fall in love with whom we fall in love with. And there's nothing that we can say about that. That's personal preference, personal choice. And I'm not saying anything about your personal choice. I'm just saying, politically, are we there? So that's just some food for thought. But at the end of the day, I think we all should commit to analyzing information, making the right decision, getting all of the resources that we need to make it a good country, a good family, a good community for all of us. And doing the right thing is not always easy. It should be. It sounds like it should be, but it isn't. So I'm going to sign off and say have a great Sunday. I'm on my way to yoga, and I will talk to you tomorrow.